Well, I think we're about ready to get started, but we're going to wait a few minutes, a few seconds for everyone to get situated and joined into the presentation. I did want to share a family note with you. These were pretty crazy times up here in Ohio. We had everything shut down pretty much now for well over a month. And I have a daughter, basically has a grandson, my grandson, who's 7 years old. And when he found out school was closing, he was all excited. Boy, was he excited. Then he found out it was going to be closed until he got a little nervous. Even after she talked to him, he was afraid to go outside. For the longest time, he would just sit and stare out the window looking for the coronavirus. So, yeah, we are in some crazy times. I'm not sure if everybody's in yet, but they'll jump in and we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bill Disken, and I want to thank you for joining our virtual demo series here at Rhino Tool House. I'm the fluid handling product specialist for the company, and believe me, we understand the concerns everybody has for the coronavirus. We are doing everything we can to stay healthy. And social distancing is one of them. As you can see, I'm working from home, and I've been here for the last 5 weeks in this 12 by 10 room, working through the day. But for those who don't know, Rhino Tool House currently covers 37 states. Yeah, 37, that's a lot. With 80 sales engineers, product engineers, and support engineers. So we've got you covered. Our mission basically for you is to identify and deliver the world's most innovative and industrial solutions and introduce them to our customers. And that's what brings us to today. Today we are introducing Dopag, a leader in the fluid dispensing equipment. Dopag has a worldwide presence with sales and service engineers in 40 countries. 40. The Dopag USA is located in Erlanger, Kentucky, which is about 10 miles south of Cincinnati. They are a world leader in precise metering, part component mix, and general fluid dispensing. In a few seconds, I'm going to send you down to Nick Enderle from Dopag, and Nick will go over the product line. But before I do that, I want to let you know you can answer any, or you can ask any questions you'd like throughout the whole program. You can go down to your computer screen to the chat. You can go right there and send us a question. We'll be happy to answer it at the end of the program. If we don't have the answer for that, we will surely get you an answer and get back to you. Also, feel free to reach out to our local sales engineer in your region if you have additional questions. Also, I'd ask you to switch your screen to side-by-side mode. I had to be told what that is to get a better view. So I want to send it over to Nick right now. So Nick, you're on.
Thank you, Bill. Really appreciate it.
1 second, Nick. So before we switch over, just as a kind of an instruction, if everybody goes to their view options on the top and select side-by-side mode, this way you could see the presentation and the video at the same time.
Thanks,
All right. Thank you, Stephen, for that. And Bill, thank you for that. As Bill said, my name is Nick Enderle from Dopag US. We're located here in Erlanger, Kentucky. I'm the regional sales manager. So I'm happy to be on board with Bill and continue supporting our customers worldwide. Thank you, Bill. So we're going to go over a brief presentation here of Dopag, the company overview. So we're a worldwide leader, market position. We roughly have about 400 employees worldwide, 5 different production sites: Germany, Switzerland, India, France, Great Britain. As Bill said, we're represented in more than 40 countries. We have Dopag subsidiaries here: North America, Canada, Mexico, US. also in Asia and China, India, and Japan. So we're worldwide. We've got distribution all over. So we're happy to support any of your needs. So just go over what Dopag can provide in our portfolio. So we'll go over mainly the metering and mixing components. We do offer 1K metering systems, so any robot integration, and we do 2K metering systems. You can see here, we do potting applications and all different types for 2K. We also do get into the automation. Mostly that is based in Germany, so offering a complete cell. So to talk a little bit about material feeding, you'll see this flow chart through the presentation and just gives you kind of an overview of kind of what to expect as far as a full system from Dopag. So if we go into the material feeding, I have a pump here that is manufactured from Dopag. So we have all different sizes we can offer, and I'll get into that in the next slide, but we also provide pressure vessels, transfer pumps, and bung mounted pumps for lower viscosity materials. So a way to transfer your material in any way possible. So just to go into a little bit about the pumps, we've got two different styles. So this is the NLGI class 0 to 3. So it's the lower oil and grease applications. It is offered in the double stroke. So this pressure ratio is between 30 to 1. So we call it our other pumps is our traditional pumps, which handle the epoxy and the adhesives. This pressure ratio is around 75 to 1, also a double stroke, and the different sizes you see at the bottom there. So a gallon up to a 55-gallon drum. And you can get all the additional options as needed, casters, filters, and breaking down the actual air bubbles in your material if needed. So if we go further down here, the next item is your metering and dispensing capabilities. We have a lot to offer. This is what makes Dopag here very interesting, and we can account for usually any application that you bring to us. So as far as valves, we have our dispensing valves. So this is our continuous flow. It's a bead application typically, time and pressure. We have on the right side our metering valves. So this is all volumetric controlled on shot sizes. And then in the middle we have, well, the one on the right side is contact. So you're touching down and applying a dot. In the middle there is non-contact. So you're shooting grease or oil from a distance at a certain speed. So if we look at the different applications, like I said, we've got dot and continuous bead, and then we have shot and spray. So if we get into the needle metering valve, which is this bad boy here, so this is mounted on a handle, or you could have a solenoid mounted to this. So like I said, the metering volume is between 0.001 to 3, which is pretty small. And as you see there, that's the application. So you're applying a small dot at the material pressure from 3 to 50. So not very high, low maintenance required. And the next step above that is the chambering valve. So we've got 0.05 to 100, a little bit larger here. So we've got higher pressure, 40 to 80, low maintenance. It's got the snuff back, so there's no material drip. And we also have this mounted on a handle, and you can also integrate it with the solenoid valve, as we'll show you the accessories later on. Here is our outlet valve. So this is the continuous bead that I was talking about. So if you have a similar profile like this, you're following this layout here, and you've got a time and pressure. So if you take something like this, the valve, say this is an outlet valve, and you're following around the profile of this on the time and pressure. And it's not to implement as far as the material on this, you would have a flow meter to be able to tell you how much material is actually being laid on there. So this is also can be demonstrated in a rotational movement. The main difference here is what we can offer is our needle dispensing valve, and we can also do the membrane dispensing valve. So the membrane takes into account the aggressive materials that we deal with here that people wanted to, or customers want to dispense, so we can handle that too. The main difference, kind of, we went over this already, shot and dot, and then the metering system is continuous. You see the higher pressures there. That's really most of the difference. I mean, your plus or minus accuracy is 2%, so we're right on spot there. So if we get into the next application for our valves, is the shot and the spray applications. So if you look at the shot valves that we have to offer, we have the high speed valve and the two options for the actual shot valve. So if we look at the high speed valve, this is applying material 100 shots a second. So this is one of our not as fast as the dispensing valve. We do have faster, but you know, you're looking at 100 shots. You have different nozzle dimensions here, which this piece comes off here, and it's actually 0.61. I think we can go down to 0.2. So you have that option to apply it on the vertical or the horizontal, as you see there. And we have the light barrier option there for that. And here is our shot valve. So this goes 200 shots a second. And you see all the different nozzle tips on that. So that's basically what this is. You can either place it here or have a straight down option. This one here is shooting out of a 90. So you can have that ability to do that. If you need to get into a part, you drop down maybe in this bore here, and you're applying it around the radius or the diameter of that. So that's available to do that. And the heating elements are all available for these options for each one of these valves. So if you see here, this is the heating element that's on here. So that's integrated inside that actual valve. And the heating element here is mounted to the side. So we have that option, and the light barrier is also a possibility. So here's just the comparisons of the valves that we went over. The main difference here is the frequency of how fast of a shot you're applying. The compressed air is about the same, and there's different capabilities for those. So if we get into the next option is our spray valve. So we offer this in a 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll get into detail with those. But if you look at the SPV1 valve, so this is this and this one here. So the only difference where you'll see in the comparison chart here is this is an SPV2 and this is a 1. So the only real difference, obviously the size, but you're looking at a solenoid integrated onto the valve already. This is for tighter spaces. So you can also apply a nozzle extension or have an air cap, but your space is very minimal. So you're attaching your solenoid valve away from your valve, but you have all the capabilities as far as your round spray, flat spray, ring spray, which is this. So you're going down into a bore of a part and you're spraying the material 360 degrees and then coming out. This is all time and pressure. Or you have the option to where you have 3 of the SPV2s mounted, or the 1s, whatever you prefer, whatever's the best for the application, and you're literally spraying the OD of the part here and covering the part with your grease or oil. So you've got that option. Here's some other nozzle extensions. If you see on the left side, it's a little smaller ring spray. So if you approach Bill and I and they say, what are your options for the nozzle extensions? We've got a lot to offer. So there's no application that we pretty much decline. So we have a good solution for most applications. So your main difference, like I said, the comparison is the integration of the solenoid valve, and obviously the surface area of the valve, space the valve is going to take up. So other than that, there's no real difference. All the nozzle extensions fit, and you're good to go. So following through the chart here, we have monitoring and control. So we do offer our own controllers. So we have a small tabletop housing, and a wall-mounted housing. And the other process identification that we can do as far as monitoring is our flow meter. So we can offer a flow meter to integrate with, say, a continuous bead. So we want to know how much material is actually being applied. We can do that. We can send the signals and the pulses back to the PLC and say, okay, this is how much material has been dispensed, since you don't have a volumetric valve to dial in on the back side saying, hey, 20% of this is being dispensed, we're good to go. The other thing is for process identification is the microflow sensor. So what that is mounts on the end of the needle metering valve and lets you know that material has been dispensed. It doesn't let you know what the volume is because you already have your volumetric here, but this is letting you know that material has processed through the piston. It has been dispensed on the actual part. So it lets you know that in case, you know, something happens in the line, the piston keeps operating, you're not sure if material is being dispensed or what. So it lets you know on that. It's pretty nice process identification on your lines there for that. Detection volume range 5 to 1,000 millimeters cubed. So it's option for that. And then if we get into the accessories, like I said, the traditional handles, we have those in the pneumatic and electric option. And then we do have the ergonomical way of with the balance arm and you're holding a trigger from the side and dispensing it onto your part or whatever your application is. So we have that. The other accessories, like I said, the solenoid plates that we have offer that mount to the actual valve. So instead of the handle, obviously you would mount the solenoid. We have the cables that are, you know, used for that type of thing. The signal transmitters are really nice. So that's the magnetic thing that here applies with the piston stroke. So it's letting you know that the stroke has been operating correctly in your valve. And then there's different adapters that are used on these type of valves. So we have a needle pack of different sizes that you can put on here, or we have other adapters. Some people use these, some customers use these as metering devices to a fixture. So what they'll have is attach a hose, go straight to a fixture, and you're on your way. You have your 0.5 milliliters of material, and you're good to go to dispense to your fixture. So we've got all the capabilities. We've got spare parts and parts located in your area. So reach out to us and let us know how we can help you. But here's typically an overall flow of the system. So you have your pump, you have your regulator to control the pulses of your grease, depending on how long your line is. And then you're going to your control box for your operations, for your dispensing capabilities. And then you've got your flow meter or your process identification saying, hey, your grease has been dispensed. And then you select the correct actuator. So we're happy to help you. Thanks a lot for your attention, and I'll turn it back over to Bill. Thank you, guys.
Nick. Now, do we have any questions? We'll wait to see if we have anybody asking any questions.
Yep, we have one here, Bill. Can a Dopag valve be set up to inject grease into a small cavity?
Yes, they can, depending on the size. In fact, you can actually use a zerk fitting. You can actually apply it into a zerk fitting if you're not getting enough or too much material into that fitting. You can actually adapt it with a zerk fitting to put it into that opening and apply the right amount of grease. You can also go into small cavities as well. And yeah, anything we can do with a valve, we can actually place it into a small hole, into a large opening. So there's no problem there at all.
Yeah, correct. And we have different adapters for the end of our nozzles. So you can put a zerk fitting attachment up there to go into any type of fixturing or cavity.
Perfect. can the valves be mounted to a small robot in a workstation or separate station on a moving line?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not sure if you heard that. They wanted to be able to mount the gun or the valve to a small cobot robot or something similar to that, where a workstation, where some people are working on a workstation or on assembly line. Absolutely. We can mount the valve on any application you've got with a robot. We
Yes,
have the
sir.
controllers and the programmers in our office to be able to marry the two together and do exactly what you want to do, whether it be a long continuous bead around the part, or when the part comes by on the assembly line, we can dispense grease into that part, or oil, or whatever the product may be. So yeah, absolutely. Those are things to look at. And you can talk to your local sales engineer who has the actual have a cobot line in their bag of tricks. So yes.
Yes. Yes, and we work to add to that, Bill. We do work with a lot of system integrators that are providing these robots on these big end user applications, and most of them are mounted to a robot. And I believe Bill's team also offers robots. So we have some opportunities to do some testing in the future for that.
Absolutely. Can Dopag handle mixing 2 or more materials as they are applied?
Yes, we have our 2K application solutions. We didn't really get into that this time, but we are more than happy to take a look at those 2-part materials, your resin and your hardener, and look at what kind of mixing ratio you're wanting to do and apply your material. But yes, we do have the solution for mixing 2K and dispensing it through a static mixer.
And we'll give it just a couple more seconds here for any other questions. If not, we'll wrap it up. All right. Well, that should be good, Bill, if you want to take it away.
Sure. Thanks, everybody. If there are no more questions, I guess then we'll move on from here. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Like I said earlier, it's some crazy times we're living in, and we're doing our best to survive and get back to normal, whatever normal may be. But before we conclude, I want to let you know on Monday, April 20th, we are sending you basically to Louisville, Kentucky to have Kyle Harris introduce you to the Estic Tool line. You mark your calendars for Monday, April 20th at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Kyle will be coming to you live from Louisville. Until then, I want everybody to stay healthy. Enjoy your weekend. And again, thanks everybody for coming into our demo. Have a good one.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Be safe. Have a good weekend.